Welcome back, guys. Today we're changing this wall hung basin that comes with no tap holes. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the silicone. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything that you think I could have done differently or that you would have done differently. Just let me know what you think or any questions you have. Right, so that's the silicone removed, that's the trap removed. Now the next thing we need to think about is how else the basin is attached. Now in this case there's two bolts, so we remove those, and all it is just two nuts that we undo. It also has these sort of plastic washers that help protect the basin from the metal bolts, so remove those as well. Now all I have to do is clean up all of this. It can be quite difficult, especially these bits here. With this sort of tile as well, it's very easy to scratch. So you're doing it at such an angle. These little bits here can sometimes leave like a type of staining. Luckily there's no windows in here, so there's no UV light. UV light would change the entire color of tiles potentially. So this bit would be like it's new, and this would be slightly yellowish or sometimes even darker. But luckily no UV light in here. We're going to fit this basin waste. It comes with everything you need, so it's got the rubber, for underneath. This is not the best, but it's something. And normally in this situation you'd either use silicone or you'd use plumber's mate. I'm actually going to use plumber's mate. However, you do get something called a basin mate, which you can buy. If I get one, I'll show you. But we've picked up this silicone remover from Tool Station because of course the alarm has to go off as I'm chatting. Now the reason that I've got this is because of the tile. The tile has a certain texture to it, so as you try to go over it with a blade, it's obviously not getting into those little nooks because of the texture. So we've got that, it's a silicone remover, it's just a solvent remover. And then we've got a basin mate. Now this was under £2. This means you don't have to use silicone at all. So this is great. Don't use silicone on anything like a basin waste. If the basin waste moves at all, it'll crack the silicone once the silicone is dried. If you're not gonna use this, then use something like plumber's mate. Plumber's mate stays malleable, it stays soft, so even if it moves a little bit, it will just move the plumber's mate. Or use this for less than £2, and it's just so easy. We've got this silicone remover. I'm going to be using that, so we're just going to open that up and literally paint it on here. It's quite thick, so it stays in place. It's a liquid, but it's a very thick liquid. This is normally okay for tiles. However, if you're putting it on plastic, this could actually discolor your plastic. So don't put it on anything plastic, that's for sure. We're going to leave that for 15 minutes. While that does its thing, we're going to put on the basin waste. Got the basin waste, it's got the rubber pre-installed. Now what we're looking for here is the position of this hole, and as you can tell, this is a slotted waste, so we don't want to put this straight. We want to put in the position that it would match up with this. So we'd want it in that position, so that would go in and match up there. We can take this off just by unscrewing it. Turn that around, match that up. So this is sometimes called a basin mate, a basin seal kit. This one is actually by Dudley, who normally do like toilet flushes and stuff like that. So you get this tapered edge here, which you put on first. So it's normally a bit of a nightmare to actually get it on, but you push that all the way in, just like that. You can see that's going all the way in, right? And the tapered edge is actually going into the basin. Now we don't need this bit because this bit's actually for the top, but that has its own thing going on there. And then all we need is this. So it does add quite a bit of like space to it, to be honest. So sometimes it's not always the best option to use a basin mate. And now all we're going to do is compress that in. Now I do have these by Ox, and it just stops you from eating this up with the grips, because the grips will really munch this up. So I don't like using the plastic ones. The plastic nuts get threaded. So if this gets threaded, I've got a metal one that I'll use instead. Right, so if we have a quick look at this, this is what it looks like. Turn on the torch. It's compressed it all the way down. And if we have a quick look inside, we can see the hole for the overflow matches up here. So that's where the overflow is. So that's absolutely perfect. Looking at the size of the thread, we know with the size of the thread that we'll be able to fit this on there. It shouldn't be an issue to fit this. I mean, that is not that thick. So yeah, it's still going to be, there's still going to be at least 2 or 3 threads left. So this is it. If you did want to buy it yourself, that will sit in there like that. I'm going to try it with this first of all, see if it comes off any better. Not really. So we're going to get a blade and give it another go. There we go. It's coming off now. It might need a second pass, to be quite honest. It's just within the tiles. So what we'll do is we'll go over it again. Yeah, so this is not exactly happening. I'm going to try something a bit softer that might be able to just get in there. But it's definitely going to leave that mark there. Don't want to scratch it either. So we're just having to sort of use the tip a bit more so it gets in there. Makes the job much longer. That is as good as it's going to get, really. I've tried everything. All I'm going to do here is put a blob, and a blob there, and that's going to stop the scraping noise that can kind of happen when you put stone against stone. So there we go, that's it. Then we have this bit here. This goes at the bottom. and this bit goes at the bottom. The other side. In this situation, what I try to do is I don't try to hold it here because you're getting too much leverage. So you go as close as possible so that you don't over tighten it. That's really difficult to turn now, so I know that's tight. If you sort of go much further down, you're just going to keep going because it's not going to feel tight and this will end up breaking. I'll take this away. We need it more like that. So what we'll do is we'll take this apart, have a look inside. Right, absolutely disgusting. We need to pull this up a bit. So gonna have to hammer it down a bit. Let's have a quick look and see how that went on. That is level. Right, so that's kind of prepped already. Okay, so we can see which side is coming out of. It's a bit of a tight spot here. We just slowly apply pressure, not too much pressure. You can go as slow as you like, really.